Friends, here we are at Youth One to announce our September giving campaign, which is in support of Youth One. You recognize these guys, at least some of you recognize these guys. This is Jordan, the CEO of Youth One, and Jared, the site director of Youth One. So Jordan, why don't you just remind us what Youth One is all about?
Yeah, man. Well, we're really excited that E-Free's taking us on for the month of September. And before I kind of explain what Youth One is, I think we need to celebrate the fact that E-Free has now been supporting Youth One for 10 years. We're coming up on our 10th year anniversary in October. And so it's just a cool partnership that we've had since day one. And since day one, we've always been driven by the Christian principles of love, justice, and mercy. So loving and supporting our neighborhoods and the teens and families that are in it, fighting for the injustices of our young people that they face today, and there's lots of them. And three is showing kindness and mercy to those teens that face a lot of those barriers and setbacks in their life. So that's where we serve with practical needs. And so I don't know if you know this, Luke, but in Lethbridge, 1 in 5 youth grow up in poverty. So that's 20% of our kids are growing up in economically disadvantaged situations. 1 in 2 youth in Canada have mentioned that they lack mentorship in their life. So 1 in 2 of them grow up without a caring adult, role model, or mentor outside of their home in their life. So you pair these things, two things together, and it significantly increases risks. So gang involvement, drug and alcohol abuse, dropout rates, mental health issues, it just increases all of those. And so that's why Youth One started in the first place, is we offer prevention and mentorship-based programs, meals, and support services for teens 11 to 18. And it's all surrounding developing relationships and providing support to remove those barriers, reduce those risk factors, and just help guide them into their full God-given potential. So I may be biased here a little bit, but I fully believe that our children, our youth, are the most important group we can have to decrease the problems and challenges we face as a community in Lethbridge right now. When our youth rise, our community rises up, right? And so that's the whole deal, and that's why we exist in Lethbridge. So.
What an answer, hey church? That's why we love Youth One, and that's why we participated with this for 10 years. Love that. Love that. Jared, why don't you share a couple highlights this past year, what you've seen happening at Youth One?
There's been some pretty cool stuff happening at Youth One this year. The first was we were able to do a bit of a site expansion. And so we started a sports program that we host out of Park Meadows Baptist, their gym. And there we run free after school sports for any of the youth who can make it there. We see a lot of new to Canada students come to that because we run a lot of basketball and soccer programs. It's kind of taken off this year. It's really opened up a few partnerships, not only with Park Meadows, but with some of the other organizations in town too, like Lethbridge Family Service. They're pretty involved with that as well. We've been loving it. It's increased the engagement of just like a new demographic of students in the rest of our programs, just because we've been able to offer something that's just really accessible, and we're using the international language of sport, which is just a really cool and somewhat easy language to speak. So that's been a lot of fun. The other thing, which is going to kind of address what you guys are collecting for us, is our food programs this year have really blown up, would be a word I would use, or I guess a couple of words. Like if I was to throw some stats around, we've served like over 11,000 meals in the last year, and those meals are in large part due to the partnerships that we get from both you guys and other community partners. But paired with some of the statistics that Jordan mentioned earlier on, what this tells us is that Lethbridge is really hungry. We see a lot of youth coming to our center, to our programs, who are getting their first or only meal of the day when they're having a meal at lunch program or at our after-school drop-in, and oftentimes at our sport program too, when we're just doing snack. This is some of the first food that they've eaten, and so we take a huge amount of pride in being able to serve students food, and it's quite often that we sit around the staff table and we talk about some of the highlights of like a community partner stepping up and providing a meal, or just being able to talk about how a family has been influenced by their students getting food at our center as well. So those would be our two biggest highlights, I'd say.
Love it, Jared. Now, can you just remind us what we are collecting in September and how that goes towards the lunch program?
Sure. So we're collecting some food items, and it's going to go to more than just our lunch program, actually. A lot of the items that we've asked for, in fact, all of them, we use on a pretty regular basis. When we're seeing like close to 200 kids a week come through our lunch program, we need to provide a lot of food. Things like rice, things like noodles, those all go towards filling kids' bellies, as well as cans of tomato sauce. It's lots in like barbecue sauce, tomato, spaghetti sauce, whatever you name it. People love that kind of stuff. But yeah, we're trying to make sure that we're feeding kids, and we're asking for things that go quite a long ways. And we've had to be specific with some of the foods that we've asked for, namely the granola bars. And there's more that we could potentially use, but we'd stick with the granola bars for this time because we use quite a bit of those. But the reason we have to be specific is because of the amount of new to Canada students that we're seeing. A lot of them come from places where you can only eat halal food. They adhere to some of those traditions, and so we've made the transition here at Youth One to only serving halal food, because we know that if you don't eat halal, you can still eat the food, but for the kids who can only eat halal, it makes a world of difference that they can come into our center and they don't have to ask whether or not they can eat the food or not. We've just ensured way beforehand that they are allowed to eat that food, and it's gonna make them feel safe and really welcome at our center. That's like I said, this food we'll probably be using the next week. As soon as we get that food, we'll be going right into the bellies of some really, really hungry students.
Love that. Thanks, Jared. So let's make sure you're free to fill those shelves in the lobby with food in support of Youth One. You know, guys, one of the highlights for me personally was just coming in here and walking through these doors and seeing a youth kid that I met a number of years ago, and now seeing that he's actually working at Youth One. That was awesome. That was awesome to see. Finally, Jared shared about some of the what we're doing practically. Jordan, is there any other ways that we can get involved as a church?
Yeah, I mean, as a church, we know you're good at many things, and one of those is prayer. We need a lot of prayer. There's many challenges that come up in the year for our team and for our youth. Many of our youth are facing challenging situations, and so just prayer for our youth and their families, that they just experience Jesus' love through the support that we provide them. Number two thing that you can pray for is for our staff and our volunteers. This is it's a weighted job in social services, and there's a lot that you take on, and so just for the health of our team, that they're able to keep up with the youth, first of all, with energy, but just a lot of the burdens that they carry, that we're able to navigate that well with the community. And then the third thing you can pray for is we need a large volunteer team every fall when the school year kicks off. And we have lots of roles to fill, and so we just want to make sure that those roles are provided so we can still operate at full capacity. And then the second thing is doing, right? And so that would be volunteering at Youth One. There's lots of opportunities. So we just talked about the meal programs. Specifically, we do a daily lunch program where you can volunteer individually, or you could send a group over here once a week to help prep those meals and serve those meals to the youth. Second thing is financially, this is a free service for youth. So we say at no financial barrier, every youth is allowed in here, but they still cost money, right? And so it's about $1,500 per youth for an entire year of service that it costs Youth One to give that one youth. And last year we saw about 700 registered youth, 430 of those needed to be sponsored. And so any giving, whether it's $10 or it's $1,000, that goes towards providing those youth with this free access, regardless of their financial status. And so, yeah, I think those are the best ways to get involved.
Awesome. Thanks, Jordan. And I want you to know, church, I'm going to come over here. I'm going to commit to coming once a month for this next year. I need 5 people to come with me. So if you want to come with me, email me. But if we can't connect on that, show up for these guys, because we'd love to get a couple teams from E-Free showing up here at Youth One on a regular basis. So thanks, Jared and Jordan. This is exciting for us for the month of September. All righty.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, see you guys.